Unless you like find some people on the street who are like, yeah, we'll take you on a tour. And I'm not saying do that. It could be dangerous, but you could also see parts of the country that you would have never seen. Hey everybody.
Hey.
Welcome back. And today we have a subject that we've been wanting to talk about. So without further ado, LaShawn, would you like to introduce our subject today?
Today we're going to talk about introverts and extroverts that are deciding to or want to move abroad, and some things you need to consider when you are moving abroad, and if you are an extrovert or introvert.
Yeah. Because this can have a
impact.
A pretty big impact on your lifestyle, depending on where you want to go and how you want to live.
When moving abroad, you are either a social butterfly or you're very reserved. And when you decide to move abroad, you need to do your research. And what I mean by that, if you're a social butterfly, you may want to check some social medias or social groups in the areas that you want to move to, so you know who you can connect with.
Right. And if those folks are more or less like-minded, and you may not be like on the extreme as an extrovert or introvert, you may be somewhere in the middle, but you still may want to connect with some folks that you kind of have something in common with as a start. That'll get you started.
Also, when you're moving abroad, you need to consider what are your hobbies, because if you're moving to a location and there's nothing for you to do, it would definitely impact your life, especially if you're very an outdoorsy person or adventurous person.
Right.
So you want to move in an area where there's some outdoor activities. Would you agree?
Yeah, and if, let's say your hobbies are, I'll use myself as an example, working out and fishing. Well, if you decide to move abroad and you're gonna probably have a budget and everything, well, are there any of those hobbies you're going to give up? So like, I know that if we moved up to the mountains or something, that like the fishing that I like to do, well, that's off the table. And I may or may not be able to find a gym. We'll have to get my own gym. Those are things that you really have to consider, because your lifestyle will dictate a lot of your enjoyment. Because even though you may be able to afford the place you're living, it may not be a place that you actually want to live, because you can't do the things that you've become accustomed to doing.
And if you you like the nightlife, your social life is being in clubs or having a lot of restaurants in the area that you live in, bars and things of that nature, you definitely want to make sure the area you're relocating to have those amenities or those restaurants, those bars, that social life, that nightlife. Because some areas I would say here, don't offer that.
Or if they do, it's not the kind of place you may want to be. It's not the nightlife that you were accustomed to where you came from. It's things are different here, and I'm sure the same goes for any foreign country if you decide to leave the United States or Canada. Another point about social life, we understand that not everyone goes clubbing or anything like that, but you may enjoy fancier establishments to go and have dinner with friends and things of that nature. You have to understand that the place that you may be moving to may not have any of that. Now, there are places like here in Ecuador that have anything you're looking for, but then there are other areas where you may not be able to find any of that.
You may have to travel outside of the area to find those restaurants, those bars that are up to your standards.
Right. And that's another thing, understanding your standard. Understanding what your standard is and knowing that isn't everyone's standard, and it's not the standard everywhere in the world. What you see as normal, someone else sees as extravagant.
That is true.
And you have to keep that in mind, that, you know, we come from a very wealthy overall country, and when you come to other countries, the things that you would think should be normal aren't.
Their idea of extravagant to you comes across as mediocre.
Right. That's okay.
Yeah.
You have to humble yourself sometimes, depending on your standards, before you arrive into a foreign country. And I think people have experienced this. If you've taken a lot of trips, if you've done a lot of traveling, and not just believe what you see on social media, because when someone posts something on social media, it's always the best version of that thing. And if you've done some actual traveling, you know that if you do something as simple as going to the Bahamas, well, if you only stay in the area of like the resorts or
Sandals,
or in the area where the cruise ships come in, that immediate area.
Oh,
you think,
beautiful.
oh man, this country is beautiful. This is the most beautiful thing I've ever seen.
Yes.
But if you've ever taken like trips in those countries and seen like the neighborhoods and where people actually live, it's not the same. And it's not, I'm not saying it's terrible. I'm just saying it's not the same. And you get to see, you know, you get to take the, what is it called, the window dressing off or whatever, and see the country for what it is. You have a better appreciation. And if you can appreciate that, then you're more, I would say you're more suited to moving abroad. Because there's some people who see that and they're like, oh my goodness, I could never, this is crazy. I could never live like this or live in an area like this. If that doesn't shock you immediately, then yeah, you're probably more suited to move into some other country.
And when you're saying trips, you mean fly to the area, spend some time in the area, because you know you can take a trip on a cruise, but you're only going to be there for a couple of hours.
Right.
So
those paid excursions are like,
they're taking you to certain areas
Right.
where it still looks beautiful, because you're not in the trenches of the country.
That lets you like find some people on the street who are like, yeah, we'll take you on a tour. And I'm not saying do that. It could be dangerous, but you could also see parts of the country that you would have never seen.
Now, if you have a lot of hobbies, like if you're an avid reader, you like to play tennis, you like to play pickleball. Is it pickleball or pickleball?
Pickleball.
Oh, pickleball. Volleyball, just different thing. You like to surf. Well, if you definitely like to surf, you want to live near the coast and not the mountains, not the valley. Okay. So if you're an avid book reader, you may want to find an online book club, or ask the social group if there's a library in the area you're moving to, or if they have some type of library system where you can read a book, donate a book, loan a book, or whatever, to have something available to you.
And if you don't mind reading like electronic ebooks or listening to Audible, that's you can do that pretty much anywhere. But if you're the type of person that likes to have hardback or like actual physical book, make sure do everything LaShawn said, but also make sure that like maybe even if that other stuff isn't available, that you're able to get those books delivered, because maybe that's an option. Depending on where you're going, you may be able to order those books. You have to pay a premium, obviously, for shipping, but you may be able to get those books delivered to you. Like she was saying, that you have to evaluate all of your hobbies and see if those hobbies are something that you can continue, and which ones you may have to give up.
Exactly.
And be willing to give up.
Because the one thing you don't want to do is move to an area and none of that is available. And then you're just like, oh, you start to dislike the area, but it's not the area, it's that you didn't do your research. Right.
And the one thing that I think people may put above everything is affordability. It's like, am I going somewhere that I can afford? Well, yeah, they'll check that first box and then realize that like, even though I can afford this place, I can't live here. It doesn't suit me. So sometimes you have to start looking for the places that suit you first, and then narrow down to ones that suit you and are affordable, rather than just going to affordability first. Now, if there's people like us, where we're pretty easygoing, we have hobbies, but it doesn't require us to live in a particular area, other than the fishing. Other than that, though, we don't have anything that requires us to live in a particular area. So it makes it a little bit easier for us.
Now, if you're an introvert and you don't like busy areas or places where there are a lot of social activities going on, nightlife is very metropolitan, make sure you do your research to find those areas where you want a more tranquil environment, not so busy, kind of, I wouldn't say rural, but an area where it has what you need, but it meets your level of anxiety.
Right.
You know.
And some people prefer rural, obviously, but you know, if that's what you prefer, then those are actually fairly easy to find. As most people don't want a rural destination.
Right, because then it may limit you on being able to get to a hospital, doctors,
stores, just stores in general.
Yeah. So you want to make sure you kind of weigh that and find an area like, okay, this has everything I need. It's not really busy, so I'm gonna go to this place. And then do 6 months. Don't just permanently go there and say this is it.
Right.
You know, do 6 months, and then if it doesn't meet your needs, then go somewhere else.
Plan as if the place you're going isn't going to be the last one. So like plan to maybe have to make a change. You know, make sure that's in somewhere in your plan that, hey, after 6 months, I may not like this place. What's my backup plan? Where am I going to go after that? And scout around, because you may find a diamond in the rough somewhere, you know?
The next topic we want to talk about is mental health. Now, we are not therapists or medical professions, and I'm only going to speak on my situation, but hopefully some of the techniques I use will help those who decide to move abroad and suffer from anxiety, depression, or panic attacks. Now, if you are someone who may be moving abroad alone, make sure you have a good support group, because I can definitely speak on, there are times when you feel like the walls are caving in on you, when you may miss your family and you just feel like you're sinking or you're drowning. Have some techniques that will help you get through that. For me, I like listening to music. I love walking. Now, I do have a great support system with my partner, my husband, because we're here together. And I can talk through some things I'm dealing with him, and he's very understanding. Can he relate? A lot of times he can't, but he helps me to see a different side that I may not want to see at the time because of the way I'm feeling. Like I said, working out, I love to work out, that helps. Listening to music, dancing, it just put me in a better mood. It makes things feel lighter. And sometimes I look at TikTok, which I know some people like TikTok. Yeah, the ridiculousness on TikTok will have you laughing, and just laughter helps with depression, anxiety, and whatever else you're feeling that's causing you to feel like you're sinking. That may not be the option for some. That's the option for me, because I need to get out of that funk. And being somewhere by yourself, you definitely need certain techniques that will help you get out of a funk.
Yeah. I would also say, these aren't things that I personally have to deal with, but I know my personality, and I know that like misery loves company. So if you are in that, constant state of mind where, like she said, you feel like you're sinking, you may want to try to associate yourself with people who are, and you don't know what people are actually dealing with, on their own, but the people who, every time you see them, they're in a good mood, they're happy, they're not talking about all the bad things that are going on or things going on in their life. They're always just kind of happy-go-lucky and having a good time, not feeding back into that feedback loop that you have going on, where like you're down and you're always dealing with people who are also down or also talking about negative things over and over again. There's a feedback loop, a negative feedback loop, where that's all you're hearing and that's all you're getting. So then it just reinforces some of the bad things that are going on. So I would certainly say, just because there are people in the place that you may go who agree with you, do you always want to be around people who only agree with the negative things that you see? Because that's just going to cause that negativity to come right back at you, and you're not going to get yourself out of that funk.
And if you are experiencing that, try to find people, like you said, that don't experience that can help you find an activity to help you get out of that funk, or suggest hobbies that you like to get you out of that funk. What I will say, you can't always depend on others. You're gonna have to learn to depend on yourself to get yourself out of some of the situations you're in, because if you're always going to someone with an issue, or if you're not happy, they may not want to hear that.
Right.
They may be like, here we go, and they'll avoid you. They're willing to avoid you because they don't want to deal with your situation. I would suggest try to find a technique or some way of getting yourself out of your own funk. Like I said, I watch TikTok. I love listening to music. I love dancing. I'll work out. I do whatever I can to get myself out of the funk. Now, it doesn't always work, because sometimes it can be, I just don't feel like it. You know, you just don't feel like getting out of the bed. You don't feel like doing anything. And that's okay. Understand that is okay. Just don't stay there.
Yeah.
Just don't stay there.
Yeah.
And if you can call a friend, phone a friend, as they say. Or just change your environment at that moment and see how you feel. Maybe you need to leave and go to a restaurant. Maybe you need to go watch a movie. Maybe take a walk, see how you feel. Just simple things. It doesn't have to be drastic, but just simple things to help you get out of whatever you're feeling, because that is real. And we've been talking about mental health is definitely real.
Yeah.
So,
to that note, help get yourself out of that funk. Think about all the people that you deal with in your daily life. And then think about the ones who never bring up anything negative to you. Whenever you talk to them, it's always about something else. They're never bringing up their negativity or yours. It's always, the subject is on something totally neutral or happy or whatever. And then take account of that and think like, wow, 95% of the people I deal with, every time I talk to them, it's something negative. But these other few people here, they're always happy. They're always bringing up my mood. You have to find a way to try to
surround yourself
with people like that.
Yes, because it definitely helps. And also, when you are feeling down and you're confiding in people that you call your friends, and then you later hear about what you were going through another channel,
person,
that's not your friend.
Nope.
So just be careful who you discuss whatever you're going through. Make sure they are genuine, there to be of assistance and there to help you get through, and not just to hear what you're going through to talk about you.
And the funny thing is, the same people that probably aren't going to tell your business are the ones who are in a good mood most of the time. Because the ones who spread negativity, they're going to spread negativity.
And like you said, the ones that are in a good mood, they're going to help you not even talk about that. They're going to try to get you to think about something different, and like, hey, let's go do this, and trust me, they're not trying to avoid what you're going through. They're trying to lift you out of what you're going through and put you in a better mood.
Yeah.
And those are the people you want to surround yourself with. That's a good support system.
Yeah.
They are trying to help you be a better you.
Yeah.
And you want to be a better you, because when you're not feeling sad, when you're not feeling like you're in that sunken place, you tend to gravitate to those people who make you feel good.
Right.
And I'm not saying rely on them 100%. You got to rely on yourself. They are a bonus.
Yeah.
And it's like we talk about when you are deciding to relocate to another place, you relocate with the person you're with. And you're moving to that country because that's where you want to go, and you two already know what it is that you want to do when you get there. Everything else is a bonus.
Yeah.
Let me say that one more time. The person you're relocating with, or if you're relocating by yourself, you're relocating because you're trying to better your situation. You're trying to find a sense of peace. You're trying to
lower your stress.
And everything else can be a bonus. Friends, activities, social life, nightlife, whatever, that is a bonus. That should not be the reason why you are relocating. That not the sole purpose of I'm going over here to find friends.
Right.
Because you're definitely
you go to lower your stress. Finding friends is a bonus.
Yeah, you don't want to increase your stress because you can't find friends.
Yeah. So, in conclusion, whether you're an extrovert or introvert, figure out what it is, what is your identity, and does it fit the place that you're trying to relocate to. This isn't exclusive to relocating outside the U.S., but it's definitely something you got to consider. Make sure that you have a support system, especially if you're by yourself, especially that. Make sure you have a support system. Make sure you're surrounding yourself by people who aren't just in your business to be in your business and spread your business, but the people who genuinely would just listen and offer you really helpful advice and not tell your business to everyone else. And the people who are genuine, you will know.
And have a plan for wherever you're going to relocate, whether it's stateside or international. Have a plan. Do your research. As we always say, do your research. It will save you a lot of trouble.
Oh yeah. Anyway, that's us again. Thanks for joining us. If you like the video, like, share, subscribe. You can join our members section. There's going to be some videos coming there. And we really appreciate everyone. And we'll be back soon with another live stream. So make sure you tune into that. I think that's it.
That is it. Join us next time. Bye.
Bye.